Welcome inside the jungle here, guys. Just a couple minutes ago, we had Jim Langlois here. And guys, you're going to watch a great video on Jim Langlois about his career at PHS. He might disclose who his favorite players are. He might disclose who his favorite group of players are. So guys, stay here for that interview. We're also talking about, guess what, his Taylor Swift addiction. So guys, stay right here and watch that interview all the way through.
All right, now I'm with softball, volleyball, and boys JV basketball coach Jim Langlois. So thanks for coming on to the studio, Jim.
Oh, thank you very much. It's quite an honor to be here, Mr. Irons.
Well, thank you.
Highly honorable indeed.
So let's start here. You've had 14 seasons of coaching here at PHS, and so how did you get the job here at PHS?
Well, I've been 14 years as the head softball coach here at Plainfield. Mrs. Volan, Mr. Aramoni, who is the head volleyball coach, retired as athletic director. He had put in, I want to say, about 10, 15 years. And it was an opportunity for Mrs. Volan, who was the head girls basketball coach at the time and the head softball coach at the time, to step into the role. She had been wanting to do it for a while, and she could coach one sport. I think our rules here at Plainfield are, if you're the athletic director, you can be head coach of one sport, and which meant she had to give up one. And softball, she had been the women's basketball coach for a while, and it was the first year of the new building, so she really wanted to coach that first basketball game in that gym, which she had earned the right to do, but she had to give up one, and I happened to be her assistant. I put in for it, interviewed, and I was lucky enough that they hired me.
And then let's say, who would you say is your favorite to have coached? You've had a laundry list of greats.
I can't say what my favorite player is. That's totally unfair. I mean, I understand your question, and I get it, but it's such a list of great kids to have come through this building, to play on that field, to put that uniform on. It's unfair to pick one kid. I mean, it is a group, obviously, of really special players, but to pick one or two, even to try and pick your all-time team is kind of unfair too. I mean, I understand your question, but it's an impossible question to answer, to be quite honest with you.
You have quite the coaching staff up there. Do you feel that you have an adequate coaching staff? Because your coaching staff is always doing something. You guys are always moving. Like, you guys, I say, compared to some of the other dugouts I've seen, you're always doing something. You're always looking at something. So do you take pride in your dugout?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have a great staff. My assistant coach, Dan Buchanan, is one of the best coaches there is, because his first thing is he cares about the kids. He wants those kids to do well. He wants them to succeed, not only in the sport that they're playing, but academically, as we all do, and in life, in the community, everything. We try and be well-rounded. We're not just like softball players or basketball players here. We want to be good students. We want to be good people in the community. We want to represent what we go as a town and as a school and as a community, and do it the right way. We want orange and black to mean something. And I think Dan's a tremendous job. He has a great rapport with the kids. They love him. I think John Larange, who's not, I think he'd be the first to tell you he's not a softball guy, but he knows how to coach. He can recognize what they're not doing well, and he can give them the fundamentals that they need to get better at. So absolutely, I think I have a tremendous staff.
And so why do you like being a coach? Because you coach all 3 seasons. You're in and out of this building. You're here day in and day out, Saturdays, Sundays. You're always here.
Well, I don't know, that's a hard question. I do love it. I mean, sometimes this time of year it's tough. It's a drag, but it's not a drag. Sure, there would be times that, like, oh, you got to go to practice today, or oh, we got a game, or oh, it's away. But it never really is like, oh my God, I can't stand doing it. Why? I like being competitive is one, and I like seeing our kids succeed. That to me is just absolutely one of the greatest feelings, when you see your kids who have put time and effort into something, and they accomplish something, whether it be a team goal, a team win, or even a personal goal. It's just awesome feeling. That's the best way I can describe that.
And you've been known to be crazy on the base paths with getting those runners always across that plate. So why do you do that? And then where have you taken that stem from?
I just think you want to be aggressive on the bases. I mean, I want my kids coming to third base hard all the time with the attitude, hey, I'm going to score. And if they come hard, it's easier for me to send them instead of coming soft. And then you got to try and pick it up. I think it's easier to slow down than it is to go slow and then try and go into fifth gear. I don't think that's easy. We try and really want to be aggressive on the base. Now, sometimes we're too aggressive on the bases, which is irritating, but I'd rather have a kid that's too aggressive than trying to, because at least the kid that's too aggressive, you can pull the reins a little bit. It's almost impossible to get a kid that's not very aggressive to be more aggressive. It's not in them for whatever reason.
And then you have created some incredible bonds with your players. Some of your players still come back. Why do you think that is, and how have you created such tight bonds?
I think it's an atmosphere that we've created here. The first thing we talk about every year before we even start practicing is that you represent something bigger than yourself. You represent not only the building, you represent the 700 students that are in this building, the faculty, the administration that's in this building, but you wear Plainfield across your chest. And that means you represent the residents of the town of Plainfield and the residents of Sterling. And we want to do it the right way. You're out in the public. You're seen in the public. You want those people to go, hey, that's a Plainfield High School softball player, or that's a Plainfield High School athlete, and we want them to be looked upon as, wow, that's somebody that everybody can kind of look up to. And I think that's a real important part of what we desire to do here with our program.
And so, like I said, where have you gotten that next man up mentality?
Bob Aramoni and John Schiffner. Bob Aramoni and John Schiffner taught me that, listen, if you're a team guy, you got to step up, and if the team needs you to do something, you got to step in those shoes. I was brought up with Bob Aramoni was my head basketball coach. He took over my sophomore year in high school, and John Schiffner was my teacher, but he was the baseball coach, and I was aware of how things worked, and that's where I was brought. Now, obviously, my parents had a lot to do with it too, but the Plainfield part of me, I think it comes from those two guys, to be quite honest with you.
And we've had John Schiffner on, and he talks only good things about you, Lang. So that's a good thing when your mentor only talks good things.
That means a lot. I mean, to get good pub from Schiff means you're doing things the right way, and that means a lot. I mean, it really does to me. I'm quite honored that he feels that way, because he's the standard bearer. The man won 469 baseball games here at Plainfield High School, and he didn't coach for any other school in the state. It's 469 Panther wins, and that says something. Bob Aramoni's got over 500 basketball wins. They're all Panther wins. So I think the loyalty and the camaraderie and what this community and what this building means to me is apart from those two guys, to be honest.
And so you had senior night last night. I was able to do it. You had such an amazing group of girls with their.
Yeah, it's a special bunch. It really is.
It's definitely tough to say goodbye. But do you see the next generation coming up? And
well, I hope so. I mean, it's hard to with our schedule. I don't get to go and see the kids play down at the lower levels. Unfortunately, that hasn't materialized the way we'd like it. With the feeder program. But we always find a few kids. I know I've got a young lady coming in next year that's going to help us quite a bit. I hear, somehow related to you, I think.
Oh, goodness.
I think she's going to help us out. I hear there's another young lady down at the junior high that's an infielder, can play. Obviously, we got a lot of help with a young lady that transferred in this year, and Mackenzie Peters. Mackenzie Klein came over from Griswold. But what's great about those guys is that they came in and they jumped into our program, and it wasn't like, they had to feel their way through it. That the program accepted them, and that says a lot for the maturity and the commitment to that group that we said goodbye to yesterday. I said that I don't want to ever pick out a kid, and it's not fair to the kids that come before. But as a group, that 6 group of young women that we said goodbye to yesterday, that's a special group of kids.
And so you got it, I could never not interview and not bring up Mackenzie Peters with a talented girl coming from the South, comes up here, then plays softball for us. She's created some communication vibes on my end, definitely from other schools, the communications department of saying, hey, do you feel like her transfer brought more attention to playing field softball?
I don't know if it brought more attention to it, because you know what, she's obviously helped, and she's fit right in, and she's one of the players. She's not the superstar, and she's got a lot of talent. She's got superstar talent, but I have superstar talent in Casey Hurst. I have superstar talent in Madison Kelly. I have superstar talent in Mackenzie Caban. I've got talented kids. And, Anna Eno has stepped up huge this year for us. Grace Fisher and Liz Laporto have become awesome defensive corner outfielders for us. So Mackenzie's a piece of the puzzle, and she's fit perfectly into that puzzle. But, for other schools, and I get it, it's a new kid coming in, and she's, she can do what she does. She's a big piece to our puzzle, and she's helped. I think she'd probably take some pressure off of Madison and Casey to, oh God, we've always got to carry this bunch, or, any other kid carry it. Hey, take some pressure off. That's for sure. But, for just, I don't like to think that, one kid's made a difference. No, I think we as a group make a difference.
And so I was told by both my producers that I could not go without asking you about
those two.
Oh yes, my lovely executive producer Casey Hurst and production assistant Madison Kelly. Those are the backbone here at the Panther podcast. But I was told I cannot get it through an interview without asking Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, I've heard you are the madman for Taylor.
I enjoy her music a great deal. There's no doubt about it. It is a law. It is a rule, and we're actually doing this on a Friday where we have to practice inside. So every time we practice inside, they will ask if they can play music. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But the rule is, if music is played, there must be a Taylor Swift song in the mix. So yes, it is a necessary part of the Panther softball practice while inside, that Miss Swift's music is part of our routine. And yes, I will sing every now and then to it, and they will make fun of me. I try not to go too crazy, but yes. I enjoy it. It really, I know it's a different generation too, but for whatever reason,
everyone's got their niche. Everyone's got their niche.
Yeah.
And I've heard from my producers once again, you even contemplated taking the day off when the new single dropped, Me. Were you just going to play it on
No,
loop?
that's not true.
Okay.
That is not true.
All right.
That
I want to
is an
I want to rewrite
lie.
this.
That is not true. We were speculating. One of my players that is also a big Taylor Swift fan, Lexi Bood, was like, I think it's going to be an album. I think it's just going to be this. And I said, we'll see. But no, I did not contemplate taking the day off. That
Good.
was not going to happen.
Perfect.
I like Taylor Swift's music. I think she's a tremendous, talented woman. But I was not going to take a day off for that.
Well, thank you, producers, for the misfeed of information there.
Oh, they were off on that one.
Oh.
They're not off on too much. They're usually right on. But that one, they missed.
They were a
that
little
one.
off on?
Yeah, a little
Okay.
bit.
I can use that against them
Oh,
now.
that's
So
good.
perfect.
And finally, I had some fodder for against them. They usually have something on me. That's pretty good, you too.
All right, and that's going to do it for Jim Langlois. We thank him for coming down here to the Panther Podcast Studios.
Thank you very much, Jake. Appreciate it.
And that's going to do it for this episode of the Panther Podcast. I'd like to thank my guest, Jim Langlois. Editorial producer is Mr. Jordan. Project supervisor is Dr. Bickwood. Behind the camera is Gavin Hewitt. Production assistant is Madison Kelly, and executive producer is Casey Harris. Thank you for watching Devil Those Haters. Bye, guys.